Okay. This is how most jurors feel when you stand up to talk. They expect you're going to talk gobbledygook. They won't understand that it's legal stuff, it's law stuff, and it's big words, and it's very hard for them to follow. And they're already embarrassed, which makes them mad. Now, organization is the key to understanding talk. That means you can't talk in paragraphs. That's a big flood of words. We can't get that. I have to be able to picture what you're doing. I have to picture what you're saying. And so it's headlines and bullets. You speak from outlines. Pop down and talk to them. Pop down and talk to them. The involvement is with them. You know your stuff. And guess what? It's not Hamlet. Nobody's going to yell out, "It's to be," not "it was." Nobody will do that because they don't know what you're going to say. And even if you've left something out, it's wonderful to improvise and say, and there's one more thing I meant to tell you about that. Talk and include them. And the more they see your effort to make them know and understand, the more they go with your side because you're really helping. So, edit yourselves. How many of you do an opening statement that's about an hour? Less. Much less. And the use of the opening statement is to give them, and don't ever get up and say, "This is my chance to make a roadmap." Oh boy, everybody says that. Blah, please. Number one is the who's telling part. You need to relate to them and to make them know right off the bat that you use simple language, straight language, like human beings talk, and it's all about them. And then make it organized and very clear. And then go back and do each piece. They will visualize what you're saying. But if you're in this big paragraph thing, forget it. Okay? Edit yourself. Boil it down to its essence. Make your point. Make your point and then explain. And in these days, you don't build to your point at the end. You hit your point first and then tell them how come. Okay? That keeps them. If you're building to the point, I don't know when you're getting to the point. I don't even know if I want to know about the point. I don't care. Provoke them. Start with what the piece is and then go down. You know, explain what the issues are in the case. And by the way, 3 is the magic number. Don't ever do 4. 3 is an uneven number. It's good. It makes us interested. This is 2 of these, 2 of these. It's too basic, too bland, too classic. Okay? So communicating today, we'll do a little wrap here. Use a personal, informal approach, conversational language. Use examples and analogies from their lives. Humanize your case. Make it about people. Even if it's all about technical whatever, there were people involved in pushing the buttons or leaving something out. Let's hear about that. Make them visualize the process by which something is made. They simply don't know. Plus, and this is today's secret, unless you are really committed to this, it's not going to happen because people don't listen to talking. Okay? Hello. And not only that, but your visuals have to be good. And the one big mistake that lawyers make everywhere I go is that you show a whole page with 6 bullets on it. Let me tell you what process happens. You show 6 bullets. I can read 50 times faster than you can talk. Because I am the jury, you allowed it, you gave it to me. Brum, brum, So what do you think that means? I guess this means this. Where's the next slide? You're on point too. Have I listened to you at all? Absolutely not. It's anarchy. You see, you've given them a chance to go wherever you want. Go ahead, kids. And whatever I decide is what I think you mean. You can only do it by simply animating your slide. Never show more than 1 point at a time. So you can talk about it and hang on to it. Control the information. Pop the second one, okay? Now remember I said time was of the essence. The quickest way to teach anybody anything is by contrast and comparison. It has 2 values. Number 1, it's instantly clear. And number two, you let them make up their minds. You're not telling them. You're just showing them. And they own it. One of the things that jurors resent very much is for you, and I want you to remember, and I want you to be sure, and you can see, that makes them crazy. They always talk about that. So you need to be able to involve them, knowing now what we know about computers and how we are, but also make them own the material. Set it up and then go, ta-da, and everybody thinks, oh, well, sure, that didn't work. You see? Next. Can they imagine or understand your point? The stuff today is so technical and so complex, and nobody has been in that kind of factory or seen that kind of incredible setup. And unless they can picture it, they only have to take words for it, and then they don't listen. Then they just go back to their own initial prejudices of, oh, these guys always do that. I'm a big company, yeah, sure. See? So what we need to do is, and this is from a case I did quite a while ago, but it's so eloquent in one shot. This is the Exxon Valdez. And in order for them to know the size of the supertanker, the largest, tallest building in Anchorage is the Captain Cook Hotel. Okay? And it took only one slide. Now you could talk feet and inches and yards forever, the size of 3 football fields. Who can really see that? But this makes it clear. So you must always recognize that you must make it visual for them to understand what in the world you're talking about, to be on that wavelength. So from then on, when you talk about that process, they'll know what you mean. Objective proof is also credibility, something that you didn't say, somebody else said it. The law, science, and be sure you explain medical exams. People do not understand that when they do the kind of testing that you're talking about. What is the value of objectivity? How is it done? And then make a double slide in which you have the list of what is required, and then you have a list of, did they do it? No, 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 no. Right then and there, one slide, you've made them understand how it's supposed to be and how it didn't happen. And none of it has to do with take my word for it. Okay, medical safety manuals. Safety manuals are a big thing. The FDA, obviously anything that comes from the government, the Scientific American, and so on. Here's the big deal. Involve your jury. And I have been trying to involve you, but you're all so intensely listening that you're not talking back. And of course, the jury can't talk back. But I think what's really important here is to consider in what ways can you engage them in what you're talking about enough so that you can make them want to hear the rest of the case. In what way can you continue to make them think instead of feeling assaulted by so much talking at me. And remember one thing, they're very savvy. They know that you're on one side because you're paid by one side. They've got that. So it's not that you're here coming as Lady Bountiful to help everybody. And you're so good and you're bringing this, my, Statue of Liberty. That's not true. They understand that. They take it with a grain of salt. So the more ways you can make them make their own decisions because you have laid out the case so clearly for them, that you have made it so visual for them. But here's one other way. Ask, don't always tell. And that means the rhetorical question is a great thing. The rhetorical question is good because they love it. It makes them think. It's like a little quiz. But they know you're going to tell them the answer. They don't have to work too hard. They're not going to be wrong. Isn't that a good thing? So asking rhetorical questions, which you will then answer, means you're setting up their mind to what the next subject is, what we need to know, and then I'll show you how it works. What do these foods all have in common? Just take a look at it for a while. Can you see them all? Do you recognize what they are? Want me to tell you? I mean, it's big. You can see it, can't you? Sure. Calories? Yeah, well, that's one idea. Calories, yeah. What else? What else could it be? I mean, there's beets, and there's wine, and corn, and pineapple, celery. These are good things, aren't they? Tea? Huh. Beer? That's a good thing. Anybody have any ideas? But you see how involved you are. Because now I'm going to give you the answer. Which is also good because, okay, I want the answer. But you like this part too because you're doing something instead of my telling you what I'm now going to tell you. Which is, in a large enough quantity, every one of these is carcinogenic. And this had to do, obviously, with a product liability case and so forth. And the ability to make people understand that the amount is the key. Okay? But most importantly, you see how it matters for you to keep this jury active, how clear you need to be, how outreaching you want to be with them so that they feel that you really want them to understand and really do want them to understand.